Most people waste time and miss out on faster progress in the gym because they overlook the 4 critical steps for building a resilient body in less than a few hours a week in the gym. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you the exact system that I use so you too can be like my client who went from 15 kilos overweight after back surgery to completing his first full Ironman. So step 1 is to vascularize as much as possible whilst going as hard as you possibly can on isometrics. What this essentially means is increasing as much blood flow as possible in your pain-free ranges of motion, whilst also starting to add in a little bit of strength training, but in positions where your joints aren't moving. The first thing that goes when you get injured is your ability to handle load. The brain senses either pain or damage and downregulates your ability to produce force. The next thing that will happen is you'll stop wanting to move to the area, swelling will likely increase, and before you know it, your range of motion is gone as well. So I like to get as much blood pumping as possible in ways that don't cause you any pain or increase the level of damage, whilst also starting to get you to produce force in and around the area that's injured, but without necessarily moving the injured site. What this will do is it will help you rewrite your relationship with the pain and the damage. It will give you some belief that you can use the injury in more ways than you first feared, and it will help you maintain some strength whilst you go through the following 3 stages. So step 2. The next piece of the pie is to get your injury working through its maximum pain-free range of motion. You might find that that's a little bit uncomfortable. It's probably been a little bit of time since you actually moved the joint, and your brain is giving you all these signals to essentially tell you that you shouldn't be moving and that the pain is there and that there's damage there. But it's about time that you started to move it. So the key message here is just to calm your mind, relax your nervous system, and just move. All is good in the world. This is not a stressful thing to be doing. You have to almost convince yourself that what you're doing is safe, it's manageable, and that it's not going to cause any further damage. The way I like to think about this is if you've had an argument with your partner, you sometimes need a little bit of time just to cool off. Give them a little bit of space, you give that little bit of rest period, but then after a period of time, you actually have to face up and confront the problem. If you don't talk about it and you don't actually get to the bottom of it, then the problem's just going to keep occurring. So once you've completed a few reps of this, you'll turn around, you'll look at me all giddy and surprised, and you'll realise that this is the first time that you've actually touched your toes properly in 18 months, without pain. Confidence through the roof, which sets us up nicely for step 3. I like to call this stage short range heavy. Now the objective of this phase is to continue building on your confidence, increase your strength for a larger range of motion, but mostly get your motor units, which is the little things that are inside your muscle tissue that are responsible for force production, to start to actually work properly again. So we'll take a deadlift for an example. Let's say you don't currently have the capacity to deadlift from the floor, but you can lift from the knees up. We'll set you up inside a squat rack, set the bar up around mid-thigh or maybe just above the knee, load it up to about 85% of what you're currently capable of doing, and we'll then get you to rip out 4 to 5 sets of really heavy, confident, strong, assertive repetitions. You'll realise that you can pull without pain. Your strength will very quickly return, almost as if you've got those newbie gains that you had when you first started in the gym. Now typically I'll hit this phase for around 4 weeks or so, and then we'll progress you on to the 4th and final phase. So we've built some strength with heavy isometrics and some short range heavy work. We've accessed some new range of motion with some flexibility work, and now it's time to put it all together. So I call this step big range heavy. And it's the final phase that once you're into will lay the foundations for all of your future programming. So you'll be able to lift heavy with great form and, more importantly, confidence through a range of motion you didn't think was previously possible. If you're enjoying this video and you want more like this, you can get my daily emails where I give you 30 lessons over 30 days just here. So when most people think about weights, they think about big heavy dumbbells or big heavy barbells. It's all about gritting your teeth, pushing hard and just hoping that you'll get through it. But the reality is that if you train like that, you're probably going to be risking injury at some point. But in my system, I combine weightlifting and flexibility training that often looks a little bit different to what you might expect. So here's an example. Most people will think about improving the flexibility in their hamstrings by doing a little bit of passive stretching. They might be sat down on the floor, folded over their leg, or they might be standing and sitting their bum backwards. But the reality is that will probably only last a couple of hours, and then you'll be back to how you were previously. But if you apply load to the hamstrings whilst they're under stretch, what you'll probably find is you'll actually end up with DOMs the following day like you would do from any other normal weightlifting session. You'll also find that after a period of a few weeks, not only have you got increased flexibility, but you're able to use that range of motion functionally. It's not just loose, floppy range of motion that you don't actually have any strength in. It's range of motion that you can utilize on your day-to-day tasks. The key thing here is that load and stretching equals mobility. And the same here applies for every single joint. Can you get your arms overhead, for example? Because if you can't, why don't you try some isometrics in the position where you get stuck, immediately followed by a dumbbell pullover on a bench. Now I've got more than one of these examples for every single joint, every single injury, and every single person. And if you want access to some of that, you can join my private training group and find out for yourself. Just about here.